Hello, good afternoon and welcome to Citi Prime News. We're coming to you live from our studios at number 11. Dr. Martin Lupin Adabraka, Accra. My name is Adjoatin Krama Domina. Coming up this afternoon, Graduate Students Association issues a one-week ultimatum to government demanding payment of arrears. Also in this package, over 400 acres of cocoa farms threatened at Atrimangwa Bieja in the Ashanti region as mining firm begins exploration in the area. Still in this package, inflation rises sharply for the month of March from 23.2% to 25.8%. And later, Citi FM and Citi TV hands over an ultra-modern health center to residents of Mepe, the epicenter of the Ekosomo Dam flooding disaster. We have details of these and more stories coming your way in the next 30 minutes. The bulletin is live across the globe on citinewsroom.com. We are also live on our partner stations across the country. In the western region, you can tune into Adwimpa 100.7 FM in Takwa, Beach 105.5 FM in Takrade, Sky Power 93.5 FM also in Takrade. In the Bono region, this is Greener FM 95.9 in Sunyang. In the Ashanti region, Focus 94.3 FM in Kumasi, Orange 107.9 FM in Kumasi. In the Volta region, you can tune in to Revival 99.3 FM, VOV Radio 95.7 in Hohoi. In the Northern region, this is Radio Bimbila 91.9 FM. In the Upper East region, you can equally tune into Quality 88.7 FM in Garu. And in the Upper West region, to Song 97.3 FM in Wa and Drapa 96.1 FM. Please stay for details.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
A very warm welcome to you this afternoon. Now to our first story. Over 400 acres of cocoa farms are being threatened in the Atrimangwa Bieja South municipality of the Ashanti region as a foreign-owned gold mining firm is carrying out exploration in the area. 5 cocoa growing communities will be affected when the firm Megop Mining Limited begins full operations. Now, the farms are part of the newly rehabilitated cocoa farms, an intervention by the Ghana Cocoa Board after an outbreak of cocoa swollen shoot virus disease in the communities. The head of the anti-illegal mining unit at Cocoa Board, Professor Michael Kwating, has been lamenting the impact and threat of activities of the mining firm on cocoa production in the affected communities.
So yesterday I received a call from the Executive Director, Cocoa Health and Extension Division, that there's this mining company, Jigop Mining Limited. They've come to this our cocoa district, and to them they've been given license to do prospecting, and they've destroyed a lot of our cocoa farms. Farmers are preventing them from doing it. They are using security personnel to intimidate them and then going ahead with the activities. So we received this and I said, no, I can't sit down for even a day. And looking at what is happening, yeah, the evidence is there. They've destroyed most of the cocoa farms. Cocoa Board, we are not aware of what is going on. So they are evaluating that aspect of their law, their own law. And mining companies are taking advantage of the system, destroying our cocoa everywhere. From here, we are going to take action and ensure that they are brought to the law.
That was the head of anti-illegal mining unit at Cocoa Board, Professor Michael Kwating. Well, the mining company in question has been responding to it, and although it admits it has destroyed some cocoa farms in its exploration activities, it maintains that it has permission from the Minerals Commission to carry out the exercise in the area. Community Relations Officer for Megop Mining Limited, Richard Jesse, says some affected farmers have been compensated.
We are doing exploration, so we are not destroying crops, at least 1 or 2 crops, whatever, it will be affected. But we are using the government rate to pay them. So now we are in the exploration stage. We are now coming to development stage before you start the mining. So we are not destroying crops as it has been portrayed. No, nothing at all. But sometimes when you pass this road to come to this area, definitely 1 or 2 crops may be affected. Then we pay for it. Government approved price. We have given them letters. That's why they trace our company to come here. We are giving them letters that this is the area we want to work. So there's no need for you people to be cutting the crops and then plant new ones. We have given them the letters. And the surveyors, because we are going to do the mining definitely. We are going to do the mining. So we are giving them letters that this is the area that we are working. So please, if you have any plans for now, you should hold it. Or maybe you can look elsewhere. But this area we are going to, that is 300 acres. We are working under the confines of the law, and the Minerals Commission has given us this thing to do the exploration.
You have the Community Relations Officer for Makeup Mining Limited, Richard Jesse. Let's stay on mining issues because the Member of Parliament for Whole West, Emmanuel Bejura, is opposing any form of mining in his constituency. The government is considering giving the Kalakpa Game Forest Reserve to a private company to start prospecting for lithium. The chiefs and people of Abutia have also raised red flags indicating their unwillingness to hand over the over 32,000 hectares of forest reserve for lithium mining. Now, speaking to City News, a Member of Parliament explained that there has been no consultation with the custodians of the land and has since filed a question in Parliament seeking answers from the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources.
Ghana, we have everything. We have cocoa, we have gold, we have bauxite, name it, even oil. What have we achieved? Aren't we holding cap in our hands going to World Bank, IMF, begging for money? Why do we have to destroy our natural resources? If we can feed ourselves through our own land, through our own vegetation, produce for ourselves, I don't think we need anybody to support us, or we need anybody to come and destroy our vegetation. So for me personally, this is a personal view, I don't think that it is proper for us to destroy ecology. Look, go to a member of Western Housing Committee that has the jurisdiction over the water resources. Do you know how much they spend in purifying water for it to have water to drink? Because somebody is destroying the water bodies. And do you know the metals that we have people drink that is causing death, cancer, and so on and so forth, the health hazard? And we want to continue mining, not in Akalak, but they can go somewhere else, not in Votari, not in my constituency.
You had the Member of Parliament for Whole West, Emmanuel Bejura. Let's do some other stories. One of our headlines: inflation rose in March 2024, with the rate climbing to 25.8% from the 23.2% recorded in February 2024. This represents a 2.6 percentage point increase. Food inflation also surged from 27.0% in February to 29.6% in March, while non-food inflation for the period stood at 22.6%. Here's a government statistician, Professor Samuel Kobna-Enim, explaining the drivers for the rates at a press conference today.
In the month of March 2024, rate of inflation stood at 25.8% year-on-year inflation, relative to 23.2% recorded for the month of February 2024. This indicates that we have seen a surge in the rate of inflation by 2.6 percentage points, increasing from 23.2% to 25.8% for the month of March 2024. Disaggregating this from a food and a non-food perspective, rate of inflation for food was 29.6% relative to non-food 22.6%. Both food and non-food inflation have seen a 2.6 percentage increase in its rate of inflation between February and March 2024. From a locally produced item and an imported item perspective, we continue to see locally produced items recording a higher rate of inflation relative to imported items, as locally produced items recorded a rate of inflation of 26.6% relative to 23.8%. Both locally produced items and imported items have seen an increase in their rate of inflation between February and March 2024, but we've seen a much sharper increase in inflation for imported items, as inflation for imported items rose from 21.1% to 23.8%, indicating a 2.7 percentage point difference, as we saw a 2.0 percentage point difference for inflation on locally produced items.
You had the government statistician, Professor Samuel Kobna-Enim. Let's move away from that now. The management of the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital has welcomed the latest intervention by the Ministry of Finance to help clear the over 1.7 million in duties for products meant for the Hill or Komfo-Anokye project. The initiative suffered a major setback as a consignment of imported tiles meant for the project has been locked at the port due to import duties. The Hugh Komfanochi project was launched by the Asantehene in collaboration with management of the hospital to raise over $10 million to renovate the over 70-year-old hospital. Speaking to City News on the development, the public relations officer for the Komfanochi Teaching Hospital, Kwame Frimpong, said the timely intervention by the Finance Ministry will go a long way to ensuring the completion of the project.
My boss has confirmed that the Ministry of Finance has been in touch to indicate that the ministry is going to absorb the cost of carrying the 10 containers of tile for the Komfanochi renovation project. And so the Hugh Komfanochi project will not have to pay for the duty and then the grant, because the Ministry of Finance is going to absorb that cost. The management is most grateful to the ministry for its timely intervention, because it was going to more or less affect the budget for the execution of the project, given that the expectation was that we could clear the items meant for the project under the waiver arrangement. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. So what it meant was that cost will have to be absorbed as part of the project budget, and that was going to be very difficult.
That was Public Relations Officer for the Komfanochi Teaching Hospital, Kwame Frimpong. Let's stay on health, because the Executive Director of the African Center for Health Policy, Thomas Anaba, is advocating for a special allocation of funds towards the clearance of medical supplies. Medical supplies donated by the Global Fund have been held at the Tema port since July 2023 over import duties. Speaking on the City Breakfast Show, the Executive Director, Thomas Anaba, also revealed that there has been an increase in cases of tuberculosis and malaria, as well as complications in HIV-related cases due to the delay in clearing the drugs. He emphasized that these health crises are preventable with better financial preparedness from the government in the future.
It is affecting entire chain of people who fall sick of these diseases. I think Ghana has the statistics of how many people get tuberculosis, malaria, get TB, and then HIV every year. This can be planned with some top-up percentage of an allowance of, say, 10%. Then we can budget for how much of these drugs we need. Then we contact Global Fund to see how much they can give us ahead of time. Then we can also budget for money to clear it at the port, or a waiver to release it to enter into the port. So it's up to government to plan very well. Just like the vaccine, government has to plan. We are look, there's no patient who is diagnosed of HIV and is not reported to the headquarters. There's no patient who is diagnosed of tuberculosis in Ghana. It's not reported to their tuberculosis headquarters. So the statistics is there for government to plan to get medicines to provide to these people ahead of time. So there shouldn't be any excuse that there wasn't money ready or there wasn't a waiver ready to allow the goods to be cleared at the port. Government only failed to work.
You heard the Executive Director of the Africa Center for Health, Thomas Anaba. To some other stories, a Tema Oil Refinery has refuted claims of a supposed takeover by Central Oil Refinery. Executive Director of the Alliance for Social Equity and Public Accountability, ASEPA, Mensa Thompson, had alleged that there was a meeting between the management of the oil refinery and the Chinese-owned private oil refinery, Central, to discuss the sale of the national asset. But Tor, in a response, emphasized that no talks have taken place regarding the sale and no ceremony has been planned to mark Central's acquisition of Tor. Tor, in a statement, explained that Central currently pays it to store crude oil in the national refinery storage tanks, and when Central is ready to refine the crude oil, Tor pumps it back to the company. You're still listening to the Citi Prime News. When we return, Graduate Students Association issues a one-week ultimatum to the government demanding payment of arrears. We have details shortly. Please stay.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
Citi TV is live on DSTV, GoTV, and HD+. On DSTV, find us on channel 363. On GoTV, we're on channel 117, and on HD+, get us on channel 108. On a digital TV, run a new search, but take note that without an antenna, you cannot access Citi TV. Citi TV can be accessed on any free-to-air digital box like the GoTV and HD+ boxes. Citi TV, it's your world.
Citi Prime News at 12 midday. Updates you on all the running stories and connects you to the newsmakers.
You're welcome back. Let's bring you some other stories. The leadership of the Graduate Students Association of Ghana, GRASAC, has issued a one-week ultimatum to the government demanding payment of research support grants, commonly known as bursaries, which are owed them. The association earlier this year expressed concerns over the 3-year delay in the disbursement of the funds. Now, during a press briefing in Accra, President of the University of Ghana chapter of GRASAC, Claudius Ansona, highlighted the adverse impact of the delay on numerous graduate students' activities. He warned that a demonstration would be inevitable if their concerns are not addressed properly.
Despite the repeated assurances, the crucial financial assistance required for our research endeavors remains elusive. For approximately 3 years now, graduate students of Ghana have been deprived of any governmental support to conduct research. This situation is troubling as it hinders the progress of graduate students' research. We employ the Director of the Scholarship Secretariat to promptly address this issue and fulfill his obligation to serve the graduate students of Ghana. His failure to do so has left a multitude of aspiring researchers in a state of uncertainty, impeding their ability to contribute significantly to the advancement of knowledge and national development. We call upon the government to increase the funding for graduate students, support graduate research support, ensure that aspiring researchers have the necessary resources to conduct their studies effectively. We demand response from the government within a week. In the absence of any response, we will be left with no choice but to state or to organize a nationwide demonstration and hold further press conferences to highlight our grievances.
You heard the president of the University of Ghana chapter of GRASAC, Claudius Ansona, speaking. Away from that, a governance specialist, Professor Bafwa Jemendua, has criticized the wording of a letter from the office of the president relieving the SNET boss of his role. The president terminated the appointment of the Director General of the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, SNET, Dr. John Ofoetinkran, and instructed him to hand over to Kofi Bosompeng Osafo Marfo by Monday, April 15. In an interview with City News, Professor Bafwa Jemendua says the order for the former SNET boss to hand over within a few days smacks of a military rule.
And all of a sudden, without the boss' knowledge, the leader is dismissed. It throws the whole company, in this case SNET, it throws it ajar. I mean, it will be disoriented for a while. You see, so if the board were aware of these coming changes, maybe some months or weeks ago, I'm sure the board will have met to make sure that the change to be smooth. Right now, when you are ordered to hand over in 4 days or so to somebody else, how such a huge corporation, how do you just prepare your handover notes and make sure everything is in order before you hand over? It's impossible, see, because SNET is not a one-man company or one-man shop where you can simply call your son and hand over. This is a mammoth financial institution with investments all across the country. So if giving somebody marching orders in 4 days, for me, as I say, it's marks of the military rule. And we are not under military rule. I think things must be done with some finesse, not these kinds of arbitrariness.
Well, Professor Bafwa Jemendua is also calling for a constitutional review to control the president's powers to appoint and revoke appointments.
The constitution that we always talk about, that has given a president these extensive powers to appoint and to give no explanation for why he appoints and therefore why he fires. So if we as a people we are not very satisfied with the way these powers are exercised, then this whole movement to reform the Constitution for me becomes very, very pertinent. Because without reforming the Constitution and trimming the excessive powers of a president to appoint and disappoint and move people around and all, if these things are done in the larger interest of the country, there's no problem with that. But this is a situation where I think a lot of people are questioning the rationale or the motive for making these important appointments and changes a few months to the end of the tenure of the president. So for me, the critical question is whether we should continue with a constitution that gives the president unrestrained powers.
You heard the governance specialist, Professor Bafo Ajimaindia. Now, the government has officially launched a performance tracker aimed at ensuring transparency and accountability in the execution of infrastructural projects across the country. The platform is designed to address long-standing concerns about the accuracy and reliability of project presentations, particularly regarding the use of artistic impressions to depict outcomes. Launching the tracker on behalf of the government, the Minister for Works and Housing, Kojo Ponkroma, underscored the importance of upholding standards and delivering tangible results to the people.
In the year 2020, the Vice President of the Republic, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, led in the answering of this question by setting up at the time what we called the delivery tracker. And it was a platform that allowed us to account for all the projects, mostly the infrastructure projects that this administration had executed. But the question remains, from 2020 till now, what does my government do with my money? A lot of work has gone on, and that work is what has led us to what we call today the performance tracker, or what some will call the tracker 2.0. The URL will read performancetracker.gov.gh. The performance tracker is, first of all, a database that showcases the performance of the government of Ghana, and it showcases it through the various projects that have been executed across the 261 districts. And this database has two interfaces. One is a website, so you can go onto that website, www.performancetracker.gov.gh, and you can access that database. The other is an app, and the least you can do is to navigate and be informed, so that when you get into that conversation with somebody, you can speak to facts that you yourself have verified on this particular app.
You heard Kojo Ponkroma. He's the Minister for Works and Housing. Let's take you to the Ashanti region now. The Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly has clarified that no trader at the Asafo market will lose their shop following the ongoing redevelopment project. The Assembly is currently undertaking the third phase of the redevelopment project, and many traders fear they might lose their shops upon completion. On speaking to City News, the Mayor of Kumasi, Samuel Pine, said the Assembly hopes the project will be completed on schedule to facilitate the smooth running of the market.
Yeah, this has been a project that's been on the table for some time now. We're doing that in phases, 1, phase 2, phase 3. We've done the phase 1 and 2, and it's left with a third phase. And we have had our engagements with all the traders and everybody, and the contractor has to go outside to begin work, and that's why we demolish the place that they are going to modernize and make the place look good and conducive for marketing and commerce. The timeline that the contract been given us is about 8 months, and he's under the supervision of our engineering department, so they're going to make sure that the timelines are met and that whatever that he does is in conformity with the agreeable terms of the contract. Nobody is losing any shop. All the traders have been registered. We've had engagements with them. Those that needed a place to relocate, all those that have been relocated within the phase 1 and phase 2, we have had spaces for them and they've all moved in there. So we're not going to have issues with that.
Sam Pine is the Metropolitan Chief Executive for Kumasi. Away from that, the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture and the Ghana Tourism Authority are hopeful that the Ministry of Finance will consider providing tax reliefs in the mid-year budget review for operators in the sector. In an interview with City News on the sidelines of the 2024 First Quarter Public-Private Partnership Forum aimed at bridging funding gaps for SMEs in the tourism and hospitality sector in Koforidua, the Chief Executive of the Ghana Tourism Authority, Akwesi Agyeman, indicated that the sector has made some good strides despite prevailing challenges. He also affirmed their commitment to ensuring financial stability for operators in the sector.
We need our operators to be aligned with us in terms of the strategy going forward, and also to be able to work with them on some of the challenges that confront them. Chief among them is the issue of the multiplicity of taxes and levies and regulatory fees that they pay to various agencies. And so we've worked with them to present a paper to the Ministry of Finance. We are hoping that in the mid-year budget, it's one of the issues that will be addressed so that they can get some relief from the multiplicity of taxes and levies and fees. But even within the context of the challenges that I have mentioned, we've seen some growth, we've seen some steady growth and a strong recovery from the COVID-19 period.
Well, Mr. Ajiman, while touching on the theme financial empowerment for the tourism and hospitality sector, said a flat tax rate regime will be beneficial to the tourism sector if approved by the government.
A lot of our operators are within the SME bracket. If you take even hotels, a lot of them are budget hotels and very, very small holding hotels. And they have said even the computation of the taxes, the VAT, with all the inputs and outputs, they are rather asking for a flat rate. And I think we brought on board some tax experts, we brought on board consultants to look at the whole landscape, and they have recommended strongly that a flat rate regime will be very beneficial to our sector.
That was Chief Executive of the Ghana Tourism Authority, Akwesi Ajiman. Now, after enduring 6 months since floods caused by the spillage of the Akosombo Dam in October of last year ravaged their homes, Citi FM and Citi TV, with the generous support of the Ghana Chamber of Mines, have constructed an ultra-modern health center in Mepe, the epicenter of the disaster. Over 13,000 people were affected in the Northern District alone, and they have been eagerly anticipating support from the government and benevolent organizations. Speaking to Citi News, Michael Kofizika, the District Health Director of Northern, emphasized that this initiative will significantly contribute to achieving the sustainable development goals related to healthcare delivery.
An infrastructure like this is part of the resources to equip the health system so well that once the communities are displaced now, once the community setting is a bit distorted, we are certain that with the health system in place like this, continuously we can provide the services that they require. And then I will continue to say that this is a clear manifestation of partnership. When we talk about sustainable development goals that we work towards as a health system, is to partner with other organizations to ensure we achieve our desired result. And then so this is a clear manifestation of partnership, getting Citi Foundation and then all partners on board to get us this infrastructure is right in time, and then we think is the best intervention that we can use to address the post-flood activities.
You heard the District Health Director of Northern, Michael Kofizika. Now let's go over onto the phone lines and speak to my colleague Fred Duho, who is in Mepe currently for updates. Fred, good afternoon. Has the ultra-modern health facility been commissioned yet?
Ajwa, that will be done in some few minutes to come. And currently, we are just receiving the dignitaries, especially the traditional council members, are just arriving at the grounds for this particular brief debate to take place. And I can mention to you that the Member of Parliament for the Northern constituency described this particular healthcare service as a critical intervention out of all the donations they've received so far. And don't forget the Mepe area was the epicenter for the Akosombo Dam spillage that happened some 6 months ago. So generally, we are waiting patiently to commission this facility and then hand it over to the use of the people. There are over 30,000 people in this particular catchment area alone who do not have any clinic or healthcare service provider. So this is one of the major interventions out of all the facilities Citi FM and CTV management has built across the flood-affected areas across the country.
Thank you so much. Fred Duho is our reporter on the ground. So that commissioning of the ultra-modern health center in Mepe. Now let's listen to the Member of Parliament for Northern, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, who has been speaking.
It's very crucial because the entire Mefe traditional area does not have a hospital. So they depend on the Bator Catholic Hospital. So everybody on this side of the river for many, many decades have been depending on the Bator Catholic Hospital.
Which is people in this my dad
yes,
in the village.
Exactly.
In
Yes. It's a big hospital. Even people because they're very good in gynae, in pediatrics, they have a number of specialists, including the only cervical cancer specialist center in the whole of the region. So it's a very good hospital, and so everybody has been rushing there, and it has put a lot of pressure on that facility. So with this construction, we now will have the pressure easing. We're going to have the people of Mepe for the first time have their own hospital, and this is phenomenal. That's why we are all excited.
You heard the Member of Parliament for North Tongue, Samuel Okudjo-Twabla, interacting with Citi FM's Umaru Sanda Amado on that commissioning of the ultra-modern health facility in Mepe by Citi FM and Citi TV with support from our partners. But that's the end of this afternoon's edition of Citi Prime News, which has been live from our studios in Adabra. For more stories, please visit citinewsroom.com. My name is Ajua Tinkrama Domna. Thank you so much for your company. Good afternoon.